Hello everyone, Nubkeks here. Our first big bit of news out of Gamescom Newsweek is here. Blizzard has confirmed, just as we predicted, that the next hero is going to be Qui-Gon Jinn. Qui-Gon Jinn, guys, we did it! We did it! Turns out Blizzard is going to be re-centralizing all of their franchises around the character of Qui-Gon. It definitely came as a bit of a shock to WoW players in particular, who kind of getting sick of Sylvanas and suspecting Saurfang will take over. Well, turns out no. In fact, the next war chief is actually going to be Qui-Gon Jinn. And Anduin, well, no surprise there. He's also going to be replaced by Qui-Gon Jinn. All of this news coming out of Gamescom in Germany. Blizzard is, of course, going to rebrand Battle for Azeroth as Qui-Gon Jinn. Crowd went crazy, they absolutely loved it. But no, seriously, all jokes aside, the next hero is going to be Mephisto from the Diablo universe, the Lord of Hatred, and he's going to be a pretty aggressive and AoE focused ranged assassin. His Q, Skull Missile, is a line skill shot, has a 0.75 second cast, does a bit of damage, and it will slow enemy heroes a small amount. His W, Lightning Nova, will create a ring of lightning at a set distance around Mephisto for 2.5 seconds, and it will do a small amount of damage 4 times a second, and that damage will ramp up every time it hits a hero up to a cap of 40% bonus damage. His E ability, Shade of Mephisto, is a bit of a different take on your basic teleport. So he does teleport to an area, does some AoE damage in that area, but he leaves a Shade of Mephisto at his original location. Now, 2.5 seconds later, he'll teleport back to where that shade was. The cool thing about this is that he can't reactivate it early, it's always 2.5 seconds later, and because it's not an activatable ability, it will happen basically regardless of everything. So as far as I'm aware, even if he's stunned, silenced, rooted, whatever it might be, he's still going to teleport back. So it opens up a pretty interesting way of doing damage, but at the same time, it's kind of like having a chromie temporal loop on yourself. So there's definitely some interesting counterplay that might happen there. The first of his 2 heroic abilities is Consume Souls. It's a 2.5 second channel. While he channels, it reveals all enemy heroes everywhere on the map. And when the channel completes, it does a big chunk of damage to all of those heroes, and it slows them by 40% for 2.5 seconds. So this is definitely one to get hyped for. Really interesting global effect here. His second heroic looks very powerful too, though a little less exciting than the first one. It's called Durance of Hate, so it's a 1 second cast. It looks like, again, a line skill shot, though a bit of a wider one. That does a bit of damage to the first hero that it hits, and it roots them for 2 seconds. It then spawns this spreading AoE, kind of like Entangling Roots from Malfurion, which will also, I think, do a little bit of damage, and also apply a 2-second root to any heroes that it hits. The key thing, though, which really brings his kit together, is the trait Lord of Hatred. Whenever he hits an enemy hero with his basic abilities, it will reduce his basic ability cooldowns. So the Skull Missile and Shade of Mephisto abilities will give 1.5 seconds of cooldown reduction per hero hit, and the Lightning Nova will give 0.3 seconds of cooldown reduction per hero hit. So yeah, I've got really positive first impressions of Mephisto. I love cooldown reduction mechanics pretty much across any game. I think that's really fun to play with. AoE damage is fun to play with too. I like that he has some mobility, but it also has a very, very large drawback to it, and he's got 2 pretty flashy heroics too. On top of this, we also have news about the Hanamura rework, which is finally ready to go. Instead of having multiple payloads spawning at a time, there will now be one single payload which spawns in the very center of the map. And now the cool thing about this is that there are 3 potential drop-off locations per team that the payload can go to, starting with a long path through the top and bottom of the middle of the map, being pretty easy to do, then a short path through the enemy team's territory, and then finally a long path through the enemy team's territory. So basically it gets more difficult to capture subsequent ones, whereas the other team that's losing has that easier path that they're still able to take. Because of this, obviously the boss that was in the middle of the map is gone, which is a bit of a pity because he was a cool boss. The old healing pack camp, the big dude with the sword, he's now going to be a more standard mercenary camp who will just push down a lane. He's got a big cleave ability. He looks pretty powerful. And then finally we even have a second new mercenary camp just to the north and south of the central area. This is the recon camp. So you fight them, there's 3 fairly weak dudes there defending it, and when you capture the point, it becomes a watchtower. It becomes a vision point like we have in the middle of Sky Temple or Blackheart's Bay, for example. But the 3 dudes, the mercenaries, will actually then spawn for your team and will defend the vision point against the enemy. Now once they come in, they kill those guys, they capture the point, then the vision is gone. So I think that's a really nice little twist on the standard watchtower. On top of this, it's now back to a regular core. It's not a tower Towers of Doom style core anymore at all. You have to actually go and destroy it. And the payloads now work kind of like Sky Temple Towers or Blackheart's Bay turn-ins. They'll just start targeting down the structures one by one, and then finally we'll get onto the core when everything else has been destroyed. So on the whole, I think this looks really good, actually. I'm excited to play it. I mean, personally for me, I would say Hanamura was my favorite map, just visually and thematically, out of all the maps that they ever did. And I certainly had a ton of fun playing on the old Hanamura and how brawly it was. Though of course it did have a lot of issues when it came to those more competitive matches. But yeah, we'll see how this one goes. I'm not actually sure while I'm recording this when this stuff is going to be going live. I expect that it should be out later today on the PTR, both Mephisto and Hanamura, but I guess we'll see. So yeah, stay tuned for more videos, and I'll get you that info as soon as I have it. One last little bonus to finish off. Here's a post from Destructoid.com, which has allegedly all of the taunts from Mephisto, so feel free to take a gander. And yeah, let me know what you think about the new hero, the new map, and how disappointed you are that Qui-Gon Jinn isn't actually going to be in Heroes of the Storm. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time. Bye-bye.